Welcome to the second video in the Elemental Blueprint series. I am Jack Maloney, the Energy Alchemist, and today we're going to talk about water people. So water people are a really interesting group and perhaps the most coveted of all the elements. Water people are very different than everybody else. They have a particular relationship with freedom and independence, and just like how water doesn't like to be contained, or if you take water out of a container it goes everywhere, that's very much how a water person likes to operate. They don't move in straight lines, they like to flow, they like to go where they want to go when they want to go. So for this reason they tend to not have 9-to-5 jobs, they tend to travel quite a bit, and they march to the beat of their own drum, and that is so important to them, beyond most things, that they will, prefer to be nomadic and move things around and work gigs. It's very much who they are as people. Water it's considered the season of winter in Chinese medicine. So the color associated with it is black. And, winter is quiet. There's not a whole lot of movement. There's not a lot of life. The water element's like a baby in utero. Like there's something there, but you can't quite see it, and it's not quite ready to be born yet, but it's there. It's this in-between space of life and death. Water has this closeness to that in-between space, whether it's dreaming or just quiet, that liminal work stuff. That is the place of water. And for that reason, a lot of water people they're psychics, they're shamans. They have access to ancestral knowledge that a lot of us don't have. So they just know things. And a very watery statement is like knowing something to your bones. That's kind of how they operate. And interestingly enough, in Chinese medicine, water rules the bones. It's the bones, it's the teeth, it's the kidneys, and also the bladder. So water is, and it's also, in Chinese medicine, it's not just the kidneys, like the filtration system, it is hormones and the reproductive system, and like where life comes from. That is the energy behind water. Water people love to wear black and blue. They are usually covered head to toe. There's a thing about being naked as well, so they either really enjoy it or they won't reveal any skin. But if you're a person who wears black head to toe, you might be a water person. They're also really connected to music. So it's not uncommon for a water person to have perfect pitch, to have taught themselves how to play several instruments or to play several instruments. If they're not actively playing music or singing or composing, they're constantly listening to music. They're very much connected to music and sound. That's very important to a water person. They also they have this thing where they feel kind of like outsiders or aliens, like they don't really belong here. And the funny thing about this is water people, they like to be alone. They're extremely introverted. This is the ultimate yin, and yin is the inward expression of everything. So, they're not super social active. They like to kind of keep to themselves, which is hilarious because water people are really magnetic. People love water energy. They just want to be around them. So it's not uncommon for a water person to show up at a party that they really don't want to be at, and they've got like a crowd of people around them because they just want to be in their energy because it feels good. And meanwhile, the water person's like, oh my God, I just want to go home. It's really funny to watch if you know someone's a water person. Another thing about water people is they like to be horizontal. Their mattress is probably the most loved piece of furniture in the house. If they're not out and doing things and working, they're laying down. Water likes to do nothing. And it's, be like water. They like to do nothing. They like to just kind of daydream, and sometimes journaling is really important to a water person. But really the art of just doing nothing, of waking up in the morning, hitting the snooze button a couple of times, not jumping up out of bed, staying in that in-between space so that you can like daydream and be creative. And that's where their power comes from. It's the stillness. It's the being with what is. And along with the stillness, they've got a lot going on under the surface. So a typical water person can be like super stressed out and freaking out about something internally, but just you won't see a thing on their face. And if you ask them if they're okay, they'll say that they're fine when they're really not fine. And you have to kind of draw information out of them if that's the case. But because they live their lives like this, because they're constantly telling people that everything's fine and they're not really forthcoming with their emotions and what's happening for them, they assume that everybody else is doing the same thing. So they have this propensity to make up stories, like filling in the blanks. If someone tells them what's going on, they make up their own version of what's actually happening behind the scenes in their own mind, because that's how they operate. So they tend to have wild imaginations and can very quickly think themselves into a situation that never really happened or is going to happen because it's simply not true. So yeah, that's a lot to do with water. And they're definitely one of the most interesting people that we have in this 9-star key. And it only shows up once. You know, water is water. And water is in an earth year. So an earth year, this is dead smack in the middle. It's a 5-year. There are 9 years in total, and this one's right in the center. So it's literally coming back to center. It's earth. It's the year that we're born into. So when you're born, you come into this planet in a 5-year. It's home, it's center, it's the planet, it's the ground that we walk on. So there are big themes around staying grounded, having a solid foundation, and being home will support you in this. The past 2 years have probably been a whirlwind of energy coming out of 2 wood years into the earth year. And it's time for you to assess, where can I take my power back? What's in this for me? And not in a bad way, but being selfish to the point of self-care. You know, unapologetically, what's in this for me? Why am I doing this? Where am I giving my power away? And kind of plugging up any leaks for your energy so that you can be as resilient as possible. Now, even though it's a slower energy than you're coming out of the past 2 years, it's very busy. Earth is the energy everybody gravitates towards when they're upset or when they want to be social. So for a water person, this can probably be a little overwhelming. Earth is also a controlling element of water. Earth muddies water. So it's a very, very busy year. So the advice is, do not go out of your way to visit other people, to do things, don't travel for work. If people want to work with you, make them come to you. If people want to hang out with you, make them come to your house. Do it so that you can conserve your energy and maintain that earthiness in a way that supports you instead of giving your power away, because that's a tendency. It's just what happens in an earth year. So another thing, because of that energy of earth and community and people being drawn to you, it's a really good time to launch any type of group programs or any type of community focused things, maybe teaching classes, things of that nature. The energy is really in support of that in an earth year. And also, yeah, that's all it. I've got my little notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. So that's all like the hell yes stuff and things that are really non-negotiable. If you do nothing else in the earth year, try to wake up every morning and think to yourself, what do I need today? What do I need to do for myself today to make it through this? And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. But there are some guidelines of what not to do in an earth year. And because home is such a big thing and foundation is such a big thing, moving During an earth year is one of the worst things that you can do. It will just disrupt the energy in a way that logistically it will be a nightmare, and it just won't work. It won't be smooth. And I know that sometimes we can't avoid those things, but if you can avoid moving, please do. If you can't, hire other people to handle the details for you. Stay as uninvolved in it as possible, whether that's like hiring movers or delegating it to someone else in your family that can do all the details and planning, because the energy is so opposing to that it will just make things wildly uncomfortable and more difficult than it needs to be. Also, don't make any major decisions. This earth is always about coming back to center, and it's really not in support of any extreme decisions. You just kind of have to figure out, okay, what things are going to be up and down a little bit. How can I keep this in balance? So just stay the course this year, and don't do anything extreme as far as work or personal life. So no big changes this year. Just maintain and focus on self-care more than anything else. And Earth is really focused around food and around fulfillment. So trying to incorporate any type of strict dieting plan while you're in an earth year is going to be really, really hard. Comfort food is hugely important to an earth person, and you'll feel the need to have treats and snacks, and you don't have to go overboard. Again, watching the extremes during an earth year is really important. But having access to those things and not depriving yourself in an earth year will help you to keep your power. And it'll just assist with that whole tendency to give energy or power away in an earth year. So, water people, that is my hell yes and don't even think about it list for you for this year. Enjoy your year of home and earth. And let me know if you have any questions about how I can help you with this. Maybe the water thing doesn't quite feel right to you. I'm always available. You can send me messages through Facebook, through email, leave a comment on this video, send smoke signals. In case you haven't noticed, Loki has been snoring in the background because this is my life, but it's okay. I hope you don't mind. Water people like to sleep, so it kind of fits. But yeah, let me know how you liked it. And again, you can find all the videos on my YouTube channel. I'll be coming out with one every single day, so you can learn more about yourself and others, and enjoy the ride. Once you start to really appreciate your own element and what the year is demanding of you, it makes things so much easier. Have an awesome day.